Welcome to My Hometown, the program that explores clubs, organizations, businesses, and issues across Nassau and Suffolk counties and sheds light on the different towns that are making a difference.
Hello and welcome to My Hometown. My name is Bill Horan, and I'm here with my co-host, Nassau Community College student Matt Leonard, coming to you live via Zoom and being socially distant as recommended.
Today we are going to learn all about the Long Island STEM Hub, an organization consisting of industry, academic, and non-for-profit volunteers working to advance science, technology, engineering, and math, otherwise known as STEM here on Long Island.
Our guests today are Ken White, Long Island STEM Hub Co-steward, and Brookhaven National Laboratory's Manager of Educational Programs, and Andrew Parton, Long Island STEM Hub Co-steward and president of the Cradle of Aviation. Ken and Andrew, welcome to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHBC.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks. And Andrew, this I think is going to be a fantastic show just based on our little conversation we've had before the show. But before we start, how are both of you making out during the pandemic? How is that affecting your life?
At Brookhaven, we've been pretty good. We've been working from home, but about 30 to 35% of our team is working at the laboratory and doing some work that actually supports resolution of the pandemic and the COVID concerns. So we've been doing it relatively well, staying safe and continuing our operations to the extent that we can.
How about you, Andy?
At the Cradle, we reopened the museum back in July when the state hit, or Long Island hit phase 4. So we are open. We've seen a small uptick in attendance over the course of months. There's still, people are a little uncomfortable coming indoors, but hopefully that'll change with the vaccine coming out. But we are open. We're doing a lot of work virtually. With school groups and individuals. So, we're up and operating. We're just hoping that people start coming back.
Matt?
Ken, my first question is for you. What is the Long Island STEM Hub?
The introduction you gave to it was a pretty good one. It's a consortium of industry partners, academic partners, informal education partners, like the programs that we run at Brookhaven and what Andy does with the Cradle of Aviation, and there's other museums around this site, around the Long Island area, and beyond just museum type structures, also organizations like Girls Inc. and others that do a lot of work in science, tech, engineering, and mathematics. And so our STEM hub is really focused on trying to get young people to be excited about, aware of, and really think about taking on careers in science, tech, engineering, mathematics that are most important for Long Island. We have a pretty strong manufacturing industry, much to people's surprise. We have our research entities, our academic institutions, and we need a lot of people who are really skilled in science, tech, engineering, and math. And a lot of times people aren't aware of what those opportunities are, or even if they are, how to actually take part in it. And so that's what STEM Hub is really focused on.
Ken and Andy, before the show, you were talking to me a bit, and just to let our audience know how cutting edge and where you are on things, you have literally, I use that word literally, gone through billions of ideas for the coronavirus through artificial intelligence. Did I get that correct?
That's Ken at Brookhaven.
yeah, that's and Andy's he's got the jets down there that do supersonic speed, but our supersonic speed is in the sense of supercomputing. And so yes, Brookhaven National Laboratory is part of a 17 national laboratory complex within the Department of Energy. And so when the pandemic hit, the Department of Energy formed a national virtual biotechnology lab. Brookhaven has been a very active participant in that in two regards, at least. One is our supercomputing, where there literally are billions of potential solutions to solving the coronavirus, whether it's vaccines on the front end, how you deal with it during the period of which a person has it, or also how you can deal with the post problems associated with COVID. So our supercomputing capabilities have done artificial intelligence and also modeling processes to model literally billions of solutions at a very kind of a high level, and then sorted those that made it through that gauntlet down to a fewer number of solutions, and looked at more intense modeling of those. And then we eventually, it works down to a point where there's a few left that we suggest the researchers take on as research projects. And so we've been very active in that. And our National Synchron Light Source has also been part of being able to analyze protein structures that mimic the COVID-19 virus, and we're able to provide information that way also that's very helpful to the researchers. So we've been a really active part of seeking the solution and longer term gains that will be made from that research.
It's awesome to have this here on Long Island, to hear this from you gentlemen, and hopefully someday in the future when this is all over, we'll be reading a book that you both put out on the role of Brookhaven, the role that you played in this. Even if it's a small one, you're laughing, but even if it's a small one, I'm sure Long Island and Brookhaven had a major effect on what's going on. You know, we never know what step along the way propels us. Andy, how did you get involved? And then I'll go back to Ken, but how did you get involved in this present day-to-day job?
In terms of at the Cradle or with the STEM Hub?
Really both.
Oh, okay. Well, the Cradle I joined about 15 years ago. I'd spent a career in banking, but joined the museum in a marketing capacity and became director and president about 13 years ago. With the STEM Hub, the Cradle had created a STEM magnet academy with the Westbury School District about 12 years ago. And that kind of, I think, put the Cradle a little bit on the map in terms of its STEM education programs. And we met with Ken and Cheryl Davidson at Northwell Health probably about 10, 12 years ago. And they approached the Cradle about joining the consortium of entities that today form the Long Island Hub. So we've been a proud partner for many years.
And we actually had Cheryl Davidson on our show, so it's like a grouping of old friends here today.
That's right.
Ken, how about you? How did you get your start there?
I've been leading the educational programs at Brookhaven National Laboratory for about the last 15 years, really a similar timeline to Andy's with the Cradle of Aviation. We have programs that go all the way from first grade up through postdoctoral programs. And so roughly 30,000 students a year going through our programs. We know the majority of them are not going to end up working at Brookhaven National Lab, but getting them engaged in science and much like Andy's team does, giving them hands-on experiences that are pretty authentic about what a scientist does or a researcher might do, an engineer, and getting them excited about that so they take the right courses. We also do a lot of work with teachers to help teachers understand the content, timely content, not things that might come from a textbook written some time ago, but giving them an opportunity to see what's happening in industry now. And so we worked with Cheryl Davidson, as Andy just mentioned, from Northwell, brought me in, and we had a conversation about this. The laboratory is very interested in being a good citizen on Long Island, and we need people in these fields. And so we all started working together to build this group that would really try to accelerate interest in STEM here on Long Island. And it's very good for the island, it's good for the Department of Energy and Brookhaven National Laboratory. So it's very much aligned with our mission.
It really is awesome. And just you talking before the show again, you told me you have one machine there that's something like half a mile in diameter.
Yeah, that's one of the, I hesitate to say the smaller one. It's a National Synchron Light Source. It's the best, if not one of the best, the best in the world at using light to analyze different types of materials and structures. And so that's been operating for several years now. We're still building out some of the capability of it. But yeah, it's a half mile in circumference. It's big enough physically that you could drop the old Yankee Stadium inside of it. And so it's a pretty fascinating machine.
It really is astounding. And when we hear that, and then to realize this is only 20 or 25 miles away from most of us who are listening to the show on Long Island. It's right here at Brookhaven, and we can look at it either through the computer or make a real visit at certain times and find out some of the wonderful things we have to advance the STEM programs. Matt?
Yeah, and I say, Bill, It's big, but but we also have a almost 2.5 mile circumference machine out there, the relativistic heavy ion collider, looking at origins of the universe. And we just received authority from Department of Energy, or authorization from Department of Energy, to build out an electron ion collider that'll use that machine. And it's somewhere between $1.6 and $2.6 billion over the next 10 years to build that out. So we're pretty excited, and I could tell you more about the science behind it, but that's not why we're here today necessarily. So
it's fantastic. Matt?
You are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. My name is Matt Leonard, along with Bill Horan, and today we are talking about the Long Island STEM Hub, an organization consisting of industry, academic, and non-for-profit volunteers working to advance science, technology, engineering, and math, otherwise known as STEM, here on Long Island with our guests Ken White, Long Island STEM Hub Co-steward, and Brookhaven National Laboratories Manager of Educational Programs, Andrew Parton, Long Island STEM Hub Co-steward and President of the Cradle of Aviation. My next question to both of you guys is, you've created a STEM career video series to inspire students across Long Island to pursue STEM careers, which I think you have a really creative name to, by the way. Can you tell us a little about Full STEM Ahead Long Island?
I like that.
Sure. I mean, we've created the series to do a number of things. A lot of it is to educate students as well as their parents about the variety of career opportunities that exist in a group of industries that are important to Long Island. So they range from everything from commercial aviation, manufacturing, biology, cybersecurity, and things like that. But they're all designed to be easily accessible. They're short, sweet, and to the point. And I think from the standpoint of, even going from elementary and middle school for parents and the kids, this is a good way to get some exposure to the variety of careers that are out there.
Andy, how do you decide, and can you tell us like some of the topics that would be a part of this program that people would be interested in or be attracted to?
Well, they were selected, a lot of them, because they're growth industries and important industries here on Long Island, based on what the Regional Economic Development Council that the governor has set up. So they're all aligned with those specific industries. So one example is cruising with composites, which talks about manufacturing using composite material, which is used in aircraft as well as in cars and other things. And it kind of highlights the opportunity in manufacturing jobs here on Long Island. I think, Ken, you can talk to some of the ones, the one that featured Brookhaven.
Yeah, there were a couple in there that featured Brookhaven, some of our work, but it's in partnership with others. So, for example, the biotechnology industry that is really growing on Long Island. It's been, Andy mentioned the Regional Economic Development Council. There's been a strong push to grow biotech and pharmaceuticals here on Long Island. So we did one episode on Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory's efforts and their research at the Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory and the partnership that they have with Brookhaven National Laboratory. The machine we just talked about, this half-mile circumference National Synchron light source, is used to study protein structures, other biology structures, material science, things of that nature. And so there's a strong partnership in working together with the tools and equipment that Long Island has between us, Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, North Shore, or Northwell Hospital System, and Stony Brook University. So we featured one on that. We had another series that no matter where you go, energy is going to be important. We're going to have that here. And so we included a couple of things in there. One is you look at the eye of a moth, and at night you won't see it because it doesn't reflect light. And so some of our researchers at the laboratory have been studying the structure of the eye of a moth to understand how you could absorb more light into solar panels and increase the efficiency of a solar panel. You might think we're nuts when we say we're studying the eye of a moth, but that's why, because if we could replicate the capabilities of that, it would change the game in solar. And then we did some of the video was on energy management, which is also critically important. The cost of energy ranges during the hours of the day and production periods and things. And so there's a lot of money and time and future jobs being put into energy, whether it's the production side or the utilization side. And a lot of that takes very complicated skills, high skills in computing and technology or software capabilities. And so those are a couple of them that we focused on. And we brought PSEG into that as well.
Ken, I'm going to have a little fun and go back at both you and Andy right now and ask you, are you telling me you need a building that's half a mile in diameter to study the eye of a moth? Is that the best use of space out there? Is there a lot of closet space that's gone unused?
It's a pretty great use of space.
I think you are. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah, we're using the light source. Actually, there's another tool next to it that is very complementary to the light source. That's the Center for Functional Nanomaterials. And so that's actually the facility that's used most in the eye of the moth research. And so we're able to look at things on a nanoscale. And if we can't quite see things the way we want there, sometimes we take it across the street and look at it in the light source. So it's another tool, but really good.
I have to say to you, I think that's a good title for a book. Every time we have an interview, so the guest will say something that leads us to a new title, The Eye of the Moth, and talk about what. No, because you have me excited, and I know nothing about science. I'm kind of a blank about science. But these things seem interesting to learn how the eye of a moth will help us in the future, what it will do, et cetera, et cetera. And Matt, being 50 years younger than me, I'm sure he's has questions and more interesting ones than I do. So I'm going to go back to him now.
Oh, yeah, Bill, I definitely do. And I got a good one about students here. What do you hope students, parents, and educators and people in the industry take away from this? I heard you guys have a series out right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have the video series that's out. We have an active website. I think the big takeaway is that for students and their parents is to understand that a variety of high-paying jobs and careers are out there in STEM-related jobs, and that you can go to school here locally. A number of fine institutions are here on the island, and then, believe it or not, there are thousands of jobs in various STEM fields that are right here on Long Island. So you don't necessarily have to leave the island to have a great career in STEM.
Andy, yeah, I think you actually answered my next question, because I was going to say, do you think this will help? We hear about the brain drain on Long Island, and we think about a business as being Target or Nordstrom's or the local mall. But to know this is on Long Island, right in our literally driving distance that we can get to every day, do you think this will stop it and encourage more college students into the STEM areas?
We hope so. I think over the course of probably the last 10 years, we have seen a nice uptick in students majoring in STEM careers. It's not an easy task. These are hard subjects to study and focus on. And we don't have a lot of national corporations here on the island headquartered here, but a lot of small, mid-sized companies do a lot of great work here on the island. And they're the ones that need the talent that we do have here on Long Island.
Do you think the pandemic is going to encourage people, because we've seen so much with the medical professionals and how much science has affected all of us?
I think the pandemic is having an effect on everything. It's even if you look at manufacturing on Long Island, it's an aging population of people in the industry. So finding young talent who want to go into manufacturing jobs, which isn't what you may remember as tool and die makers and things like that, but now working with computers and things like that. I think the pandemic is actually making people look close to home for a variety of reasons, and that may be a benefit for local companies.
And speaking of young talent, who do we have? We go back to Matt Leonard, who wants to tell us about WHPC.
Thanks, Bill. You are listening to My Hometown on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHBC. I'm Matt Leonard, along with Bill Horan, and today we're talking about the Long Island STEM Hub, an organization consisting of industry, academic, and non-for-profit volunteers working to advance science, technology, engineering, and math, otherwise known as STEM, here on Long Island with our guests Ken White, Long Island STEM Hub Co-steward and Brookhaven National Laboratories Manager of Educational Programs, and Andy Parton, Long Island STEM Hub Co-steward and President of the Cradle of Aviation. My next question is, how can people watch this video series that I mentioned earlier? How is it available to the public?
We have, for a long time now, we've had a website up, and Andy's team is now leading oversight of that, along with help from HJMT, Hillary Topper's organization. And so we have www.listemhub.org, and people are able to go on to that site, see the videos. For most of them now, we have connected curriculum to that, so that whether you're homeschooling or a teacher who'd like to bring it into the classroom, there are ways to see the video, see the career opportunities that Andy has talked about across Long Island, and also do some educational content around that particular activity that is representative of that particular field of occupation.
Ken and Andy, did I read that you're nominated for an Emmy? For the New York Emmy?
You did. We were nominated for a New York Emmy for that. The team went into the Emmy Awards, and unfortunately we did not win, but it was something we didn't imagine we would even be engaged in. And so Waldo Cabrera, My LI TV, was our videographer doing this for us, and he submitted it, and we were in fact nominated, and we did win a second place in a Long Island Press Award recently as well. So this is a good series. It's well done, and it's very representative of great career opportunities on Long Island.
I can't speak for Matt, but I have to say I'm really jealous of you guys that you get to be nominated for an Emmy. You get to look into the eye of a moth, and you get to play around with a machine that's bigger than Yankee Stadium. I mean, this is like Toyland at a very large, or with the moth a very small scale. But that you get to do this all day, I'm tremendously jealous. So, Matt,
I'm 100% with you, Bill. I'm extremely jealous. I honestly wish I was as smart as you two gentlemen, that I would know how to work all this machinery. So
even if you just put the plug in every day and get it started,
exactly.
Just reboot it every morning. That's all. I'll take that job. Did you have a question?
I did. What do you say to people who think you concentrate too much on science and math and not enough on music and the arts? I'm a music major myself. I just want to know, how do you find the right balance in education today?
There's been a big effort, and most institutions and the STEM Hub does embrace it, is it shouldn't be STEAM, but it shouldn't be STEM, but STEAM, including the arts. And most, I think, students have been able to balance between their interest in science as well as their interest in the arts. I think whether it's music or any form of fine arts, I think it's part of the same brain waves, and I think having that balance between the two makes somebody certainly a better person and a better employee down the road for them as well.
I could add to that a little bit. We recognize that the arts are really important, and that creativeness that Andy's talking about is certainly part of our scientific arena as well. And so when we launched one of our first annual meetings, we had a gentleman come in from D'Addario, and we played one of their videos. D'Addario, if you don't know, is here on Long Island, makes guitar strings, among other things.
Yeah, of course.
And the STEM around making a guitar string is quite amazing. Think about the oils in your fingers and corrosion and other things, the tension on the strings, how long they last. There's an awful lot of design and engineering in that. And so we recognize that there's an interface between these things that is really important, that people may not think about. And so we put the music on, and then we know that there's a lot of STEM behind mixing of music and other things. There's a real interface there that we're keenly aware of.
I think you have to remember one of the greatest scientists in history is Leonardo da Vinci, who also happened to be fairly creative artist as well.
Ken, tell us some of the programs. If we have some parents out there, even students, now that you're getting us interested, what programs are available that someone may want to learn more about STEM, get involved in this, or just see what's going on out at Brookhaven?
Brookhaven has a site, www.bnl.gov/education, and you can learn a lot about those programs. And we're doing academic programs right now for the school districts. We're doing at just about every level in the K-12 and at the the college level. We're also doing summer programs that the registration for will start up just as it usually does right before summer begins. And so there's that, but I would go more broadly, since this conversation is really about the STEM Hub, that you look at listemhub.org, and what we have tried to do during the pandemic in particular is to put together a list of sites across Long Island, because like I have done with our team, like Andy's done with his, we are all putting together programs that support a virtual setting, and there's a lot of them on there, and the STEM Hub website is a great place to go and look for those different resources, whether it's the Museum of Mathematics in the city or one of our other organizations, the Dolan DNA Learning Center. There's a whole list of them there that could be very helpful to parents and students and educators.
Matt can spread the word to the other students at Nassau Community College. Matt?
I'll definitely be letting them know, Bill. Andy, my next question for you. For those that have never visited, tell us a little bit about the Cradle of Aviation and how have you guys handled the pandemic thus far?
Well, the Cradle is a huge space. It's 150,000 square feet, and we have a collection of over 75 air and spacecraft, everything from a 1909 Blériot that flew here on Long Island to the lunar module, which was built here. So it's dedicated to preserving the history here on Long Island, the rich history of aviation and aerospace. It's also designed to help get kids interested in STEM through using the aircraft and the artifacts to get them excited about it, and so hopefully inspire them to look at aerospace and aviation as a career path.
I've been personally many times, and as a Nassau Community College student, that's right in our backyard. You guys are right there.
It's just a stone's throw away from you guys.
Exactly.
I was going to say that, Matt, for people who don't know, you could walk from Nassau Community College, even on a rainy day, you could walk there to the Cradle of Aviation. It's so close. So if people are looking for a place to visit, or even virtually, it's literally in our backyard. Andy and Ken, what is the one thing you want our audience to remember about the Long Island STEM Hub?
I would say to remember that STEM is a really important component and fabric of our community and our economic success here on Long Island, and making sure that our students are aware of the jobs here, that they are familiar with the places they can go to prepare for them. As Andy mentioned, there's lots of places on Long Island that are very fine educational institutions that can prepare you for those jobs, and staying right here at home is a real possibility. And the Long Island STEM Hub, whether you're a student, teacher, or industry partner, is a great place to go to begin to understand what's available out there and how it can benefit you personally and Long Island as a whole.
Andy, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I just echo Ken's words and basically say, if you want to stay on Long Island, you can go to school here and you can get a great job, especially in STEM fields.
I'd like our audience to know that we've been speaking today with Ken White, the Long Island STEM Hub Co-steward and Brookhaven National Laboratories Manager of Educational Programs, and Andrew Parton, the Long Island STEM Hub Co-steward and President of the Cradle of Aviation. Ken and Andy, thank you so much for being with us today, and congratulations on everything you've done so far.
Thanks for having us.
I'd like our audience to know I'm Bill Horan. I'm here with Matt Leonard. Thanks for listening to this week's special edition of My Hometown.
We like to get your feedback on My Hometown. Send your comments to whpc@ncc.edu. Nassau Community College, where success starts and continues. Till next time, this is Bill St. James. And remember, there's no town like your hometown.